everybody, this is Andrew from T is for Tech. Just want to do a quick video here for this Wimaxit. So it's Wimaxit. It's the M1012, and this is a 10.1 inch touchscreen, specifically kind of geared towards the Raspberry Pi. So I have done some Raspberry Pi projects in the past, and I just never really had a good monitor for the Raspberry Pi itself. So wanted to pick this up and just take a look at it. And what's really cool is that, you know, for the most part, it's like it's a bare monitor, right? So it doesn't have a giant frame around it or anything like that. So you can kind of work this into, you know, any sort of project enclosure or project thing that you might want to do. So it does have a manual. You know, this is what the monitor looks like, right? So very, I guess, thin without a bezel. And then you get direct access to the back of it. You know, the various display connectors, the touch connector, power, HDMI, and all of that. And then you do get a bunch of stuff, right? So you get some cables here. So it's HDMI cable, micro USB cable for the touch controller. You actually get some speakers. So if you want to kind of create an enclosure, have speakers in it, you know, there's speakers that you can connect in there. There's a couple feet, so you can put it on like a little bit of a stand if you just want to kind of have it sitting on the desk or something. Basically some adapters for the various inputs. So pretty cool. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go ahead, hook up a Raspberry Pi to this and show you what it looks like and what the screen resolution is and all of that. And do that on the second part of this video. This was just an unboxing. So let's hop on over there and take a look. Hey everybody, so I've been playing around with this Raspberry Pi monitor screen that I just did an unboxing on the other part of the video. And I just wanted to show you kind of quickly what it looks like after you have it hooked up. And I don't know if it's hard to tell here, but on the back of the monitor, there's some mounting screw holes or studs that you basically just take your Raspberry Pi. So this is Raspberry Pi 4 is what I have, but it also included some accessories for a Raspberry Pi 3. And what you do is basically you mount it to there, and then there's a couple, I don't know if you can see, it's hard to hold this too. There's a couple adapters that they have that kind of go from the micro HDMI to the HDMI that's on the back. And then, I don't know if you can see it, same thing here. There's like a USB connection that goes from the USB to the USB. And then this is, I have an external keyboard just plugged in right now. But then there's some feet you can put on there, etc. So there, I mean, obviously you can do all kinds of stuff with this if you want to build it into some sort of enclosure, get some sort of frame for it or something. But the cool thing about it is that once you hook up the Raspberry Pi this way, you just need a power cable. So just plug the power cable in, and then it provides the HDMI and the touch connection to the, to the Raspberry Pi. So as you can see, I can just touch this and it acts kind of like a mouse at this point, right? So Raspberry Pi, as far as I know out of the box, doesn't support multi-touch in a way that is useful. I may be totally wrong. I need to do a little bit of research on that and how to make that work better possibly. But it works, right? And so I have this old Lenovo keyboard here just hooked up so I can actually log in, create the password, or create the user account and whatnot. What I should be able to do here is go to Preferences, Add Remove Software, and search for Matchbox. And then pick the on-screen keyboard, hit OK. Okay, and then once that is there, I should be able to go into Accessories and open the key. Oops. accessories, okay, accessories, keyboard. And now I have an on-screen keyboard. So if I wanted to, then I can disconnect this keyboard and then just use the on-screen keyboard to type and do stuff. So that is that. Although, to be honest, I think that generally, Raspberry Pi OS is not really meant to be a tablet or, replace kind of like something where you would mainly use touch as an input, really. It's still very much geared towards a mouse and keyboard. So you can make some things work, like I said, with like this on-screen keyboard and whatnot. But to be honest, probably the best thing that I could use this for is some sort of like home dashboard or IoT project where, I'm not necessarily interacting with it in a way where I have to constantly type and search and use applications and things like that. Maybe it's just a single kiosk mode dashboard and I can, just with a single touch interact with different elements on the screen. And I do have quite a few smart devices in my house. I have a Ecobee thermostat. I have some Apple Home, enabled controls and things like that. I use Hoops to kind of bridge that with, other devices such as SimpliSafe and things like that. So I might use this, in that way, right? I've also got some security cameras that I use DS Cam for on Synology, and maybe I'll just create a Synology dashboard for viewing the security cameras or something like that. So, and then find some way to kind of make this into a nice, some sort of frame where, it looks like a picture frame or something like that. It has a little bit of depth to it to, to make up for the Raspberry Pi and the power and all of that, and then use it in that fashion. So I'm gonna be experimenting around with this quite a bit over the next, months and things like that. But for now, I just wanted to do this kind of quick review of, just, it looks really good, right? It does have a backlight control. So I do have the backlight kind of all the way up for the purposes of this video to hopefully be able to view the screen a little bit better. But really, there's like a backlight and that's it. Yeah, I mean, overall, this is a pretty cool device. It's pretty nice. The only thing I would say I was a little bit worried about is mounting the Raspberry Pi in the back. In order for me to get these all lined up, I had to kind of really push the Raspberry Pi kind of at an angle to get it to line up with the holes after the USB and HDMI were plugged in, and I was worried that I was going to break those little connectors. I didn't, obviously, because this works, but that was one thing I was a little bit worried about, is like, how well that stuff on the back would hold up when you're manipulating it. But once you have it plugged in and all of that, and you're not going to be taking the Raspberry Pi on and off, it's pretty good. The other thing I did not put on here yet, because I didn't want to adhere them to the back of the screen, are some speakers. So basically, there's a couple speakers. They plug in on the back in these white connectors, and then basically you're able to listen to music or sounds, I guess, not music per se, but listen to sounds from the operating system on the device. Now, if I do build this into a case, I don't want to put those right there, so I might need to actually maybe extend this. Maybe I will have to extend the speaker cables, and I don't want them like adhered to the back. There's some outlines where it wants you to do it. So I didn't want to do that, so I just didn't put them on yet. So yeah, if you have any questions, go ahead and post those below. I'll be happy to answer. This is Andrew from T is for Tech. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.